Welcome to Wisdom of the World. Today I'm going to tell a story about luck, and it comes from the Dominican Republic. It's called Don Dinero and Dona Fortuna in Spanish. In English that would say Mr. Money and Mrs. Luck. Now Mr. Money and Mrs. Luck were having an argument. Mr. Money says, money is the answer to everything. And Mrs. Luck said, I'm not so sure. Actually, I think luck is the answer, and I will show it to you. Now, at that very moment, a poor guy came by and she asked him, said, well, how is your life? And he says, my life, what do you mean my life? I just keep paying, my bills. I make 4 reales per month. It's just simply not enough. Terrible. And then she said, okay. And she took his backpack and she filled it with money. And he said, well, here you've got a backpack full of money. Now, go on your way and come back in a little while and tell me how it goes. Went with you. So off he goes with his basket, his backpack full of money. And so he walks through a forest, and then he starts to think, who does this Mrs. Luck actually think she is? Why should I go back to her? I've got all this money, I'll be fine. And so he walked on, and then at a certain moment, his backpack got sort of stuck in a vine hanging from the forest. And that vine actually opened a wasp nest. And when the wasp just came after him and started to, sting him all over the place, he pulled off his backpack and he ran as far as he could. When he got to a clear space where there was no more wasps, he realized that his backpack was off, and he ran back to try to find it, and it was gone. So he goes back to Mrs. Luck and told her what has happened. And she says, don't worry about the money. Just go back home. Yeah. So the guy goes back home. Now the guy had a neighbor. And the neighbor was much better off than our poor guy. Also because he was well taken care of by Mrs. Luck. So at that moment, after she had said goodbye to the poor man, she sent a messenger with some bananas to the neighbor that was better off. And when the neighbor saw the bananas, and actually under the bananas there was the backpack with the money that was lost, but he didn't know that. He says, oh, my poor neighbor is much worse off than I am, so let's please bring the bananas to him, said to the messenger. And the messenger brought the bananas to him, and our poor guy, was very happy with the bananas. And when he saw what was under it, his own backpack with all the money back in there, he was totally amazed and totally happy. And he ran back to Mrs. Luck, and he says, you are right, yeah? It's not just only the money. You also need to have a bit of luck. And she said to Mr. Money, see, but in order to make my point, I'll prove it to you again. And she told the guy, hey, why don't you go and find yourself a plot of land? Anything that you want, yeah? And ask the owner how much it is and come back with the purchase price, and I'll pay it to you. So the guy goes and looks around and finds a beautiful farm, a beautiful piece of land, and the guy wants to have 15,000 pesos for it. And then, he also said, but if you bring me the money this afternoon, you can have it for 500,000 pesos. No, 5,000 pesos and 15,000, 5,000. Yeah. So the guy says, okay, I'll come back with the money. That's a deal. And so he went back to Mrs. Luck, he bought that. And again, Mrs. Luck said to Mr. Money, you see, money is not the answer. Luck is the answer. So What's the conclusion of this story? The story speaks for itself. Luck is the answer. Is it? Thank you.